of the Shaft podcast. On this episode, we have an Easter special for you all. So we are going to discuss some intriguing cultures around the ideas of Easter, Easter celebrations in Ghana, probably extrapolate a few things to the African perspective on this, and then talk a lot more about the Ghana Easters Debate Championship as well, the Ghana Easters Cup. Erasmus, how happy are you to be? I think recently we've been having a lot of episodes together, because it seems like this our third or fourth episode we've had together in recent weeks.
Yeah, I attribute that to the beer parlor, which obviously gives us the chance to. But I think I enjoy this a bit more. I've seen quite a
Yeah,
couple of podcasts where you just have like two people just talk through
yeah,
things, the things they know, they share interest in with,
yeah,
and hope others enjoy it. And I feel we've been doing a lot of interviews. Obviously, we've done some sports content, but this kind of content is also exciting for people who
yeah,
love debate and love to hear some of these stories.
yeah. That's true. I mean, the two of us chatting is probably the most exciting ones because we get to go disagree on certain things, agree on certain things, explore the nuances around issues as well. Today we're going to talk about the Easter. Next week is Easter celebration. Today is the famous Palm Sunday, I think, and I was just making fun of the fact that here in Hong Kong there is no palm anywhere. I can't. I've not seen. I've not seen any palm anywhere. But back home in Ghana, people would gladly uproot the entire palm tree and send it to church. And so it's just bringing to me the stark difference in culture when it comes to the celebration of Easter as a holiday and as a festive season itself. Do you have any childhood memories of the Easter season and what do you remember about it?
I used to be the child who says that I love Easter more than I love Christmas. I don't know if you ever did that. Like, imagine like
Yeah,
it's like, oh, what's your favorite? I was like, I love Easter more than. I think just maybe something to do with the suffering and melancholic side of it as a matter of reflection. But for me, it was
yeah,
the Easter Mondays. It was also
yeah,
like the Easter
yeah,
Mondays, because like in the build up to Easter, I sort of like liked how we were a bit solemn. Like from Palm Sunday, we used to take like
yeah,
palm branches to church when we were
yeah,
kids, and then also that very Sunday you have like communion mass, which is like bread things like that. But I like that there was a change in the atmosphere, and I like that the holidays came right in the middle of school. So it wasn't like you were going, it came right in the middle of school, which meant that like you could
yeah.
actually take a break. So yeah, I think I did enjoy it growing up as a kid in Ghana.
I mean, for the purely the reason about the holiday, I dislike Christmas because it's sandwiched in already a vacation season. I don't see the point
Yes.
of
Yeah, I'm
keeping
like,
it.
we could have double, right?
Yeah, like exactly. But Easter's, you are going to school, and school has become so tense. Like you usually resume school in January, and there's no proper holidays from January to like February, March, and then March ending April. There's this cute set of four holidays:
Yes.
Easter Friday, and then Easter Monday. I'm like, oh, cool. I get
Yes.
a 4 day weekend. Come
Yes.
on, like that's tradition season. And even with work, right? Even here with work, like next week Friday to the following Monday is a holiday, and so
Ah,
obviously for me who works on Fridays and Saturdays and
that's proper
don't work on
holiday.
Mondays, that's proper holiday for me. And even the Monday I don't work because it coincides with the holiday, I get a comp day leave, which means I get to
Yes.
take another day off for that holiday.
Oh, I love
Like
it. I love
so
it.
now it's far more exciting for me. Like I'm looking forward to next week. Like guys, I only work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's a 3 day week. that's that's superb, right?
Yeah.
Like that's everybody's dream. But I mean, the nicer part of Easter beyond the holidays were also the fact that it provided an avenue for parents to just be special. Easter holidays, they would, especially for when we're growing up, these special meals of rice, chicken,
Yes.
killing goat, those things were not common everyday meals. And
Yes.
so now there's a special occasion. You hear from it like weeks before, oh, Easter is coming. We pre-ordered a goat or we pre-ordered a fowl, like or we bought one bag of rice. You would just see the ingredients walking into the house one by one. One outing, your mom brings a bag of rice. Another outing, your dad brings a big gallon of
Yes.
oil. Then you clearly see the Easter tone is setting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
that's
that
true.
Easter Friday, Saturday, Sunday from church, celebrations mode.
Yeah, that's
Christ
true.
has
I mean,
risen.
to be fair, like it wasn't as grand as Christmas was. I'll be very fair. It
Yeah,
wasn't as grand because they'll be
yeah,
like, oh, but still, like parents like to give you sort of like a foreshadowing of things to come.
yeah, yeah,
So I really love that pattern. You're right. On Easter Sunday, we go to church. We usually close quite early, so we're
yeah,
all in white. So from the beginning of the
exactly.
month, they buy the cloth for you, and then they give it to
Yeah,
the tailor. You go and take your
yeah.
measurements, and you keep
You
on checking for
bow.
it.
So like there's a build up to that celebration that makes you clearly excited. Like because see, these are things they would make you go and choose a style for your
Yeah,
outfit. Buy shoes to match the outfit that you are going to wear. And parents are so deliberate about making sure their kids look good. And there's this family outfit collective set that once they
yeah.
see you, this is Teku's family,
It's family.
or
Yeah,
this
it's true. It's true.
yeah, this is this family. So it's super super exciting to see people go on that tangent. So,
Yeah,
but I mean,
we're proper millennials.
I it's like these days people are, because I was seeing some people express shock about the fact that today is Easter Sunday, and I'm like, how dare you? Like today is Palm
Yeah.
Sunday.
No,
How dare you?
I don't
How
think
dare you be shocked?
it's not just Easter. Like it's I thought it was as a result of me growing up that holidays
Yeah,
began to lose a bit of relevance. But I realize it's the same in the upcoming generation also. Like
yeah,
they've lost the reverence for holidays. You still
yeah,
try to work. You still have some
yeah,
class or school to go to, extracurricular activities,
yeah.
and people are
They
so
fit
busy
in
these
classes
days.
and extra
Yeah,
classes and debates
I
classes. So,
think the biggest pandemic for me was vacation classes. I think that was the worst invention. Like
bro,
where kids are being chased with a lot of work. We used to have proper breaks. We used to have like proper holidays.
proper breaks, like 3 months
Relax.
of breaks, sleep.
Yes.
Like you see someone. I was telling someone recently that you see someone, your classmate, and the next by the time vacation ends and they come back, they've grown. Like that's
Yes.
how far. That's
They've
how
grown
far it
taller.
is.
They have
They've grown
beard now.
taller.
So we used to
They've
show
grown
our
bigger.
beards
Like yeah,
again in high
exactly.
school.
Like these are people who you saw them a little bit short. They've grown taller. Somebody has grown a broader
Yeah.
chest. Somebody have had
Yeah.
cheeks.
That's
Like you
true.
see, people have grown. Now vacations, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month
2 months.
maximum,
Yeah.
and then you come back. Like, and it's really, really stressing students as well. And I
Yeah.
think some of these breaks are now they are probably losing their value because there are so many things that are fixed. And for instance, I get to go off within the period, but the company I work for instance, is still running some debate classes during the
Yes.
season because that's when students are not going to school. And
Yeah.
so they probably have some amount of rest during the day and attend debate classes in the evening. And there's online classes that are being run. And I think online even makes it even worse.
Yes.
Like, so
It's
now
the work is
there's
chasing you. No one is
yeah,
free from work
sure,
now.
exactly. So now they're still doing that, and I'm like, oh, I get to enjoy the holiday, but some of these kids don't, and it's not fun seeing that
I have just one quote I wanted to use to round this off. Someone
yeah,
asked the question on the internet and was like, "When should I start saving to buy a house?" And
yeah,
someone said, "When you were in your mother's womb," because now it's competitive. Now it's
bro, the
you
competition
you
is crazy.
you can't be ready.
The competition is really really crazy. But how have you found a difference in the value or the reverence people give to Easter celebrations, like in places like the UK where you are versus back home in Ghana?
Oh, I think, and I have this conversation a lot of times. I tell people that the UK are a very cultural people. I think when
Yeah,
you are in Africa, you think of like white people as people of no cultures,
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
Western
yeah.
culture. What it is what is
Yeah,
it? It's just like,
laissez-faire, freedom,
yeah,
freedom
no,
principles,
but
and
the
independence, and nothing
yeah,
strict about it.
yeah, but particularly like the people in the UK and British people in general are very, very cultural people,
Yeah.
highly cultural and sophisticated. So you find people have events around Christmas. I don't
Yeah.
know too much about it to speak to it, but from my interactions with friends, like Easter eggs, I think so. Right around this time, people are
Okay.
sharing chocolates within the office. You take what
Oh
you have to
wow.
take. People go on trips. They are looking forward to it because like it's called the long holiday. So
Yeah.
it's called a bank holiday. So there's a long holiday where there are a couple of bank holidays. So people put in trips so that if you take
Yeah.
just 2 days off work, myself, I'm doing it like going to we're
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
travel, right? But the week before, I'll just be taking it off so that we can use it to travel. So people actually plan things on holidays, have family
Yeah.
dinners. Like I think they are one of the
Uh,
holidays they cook turkey, so it's
yeah.
like a
Yeah. Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
people, I
But
think the
what's with
only
white
difference.
and turkey? It's like turkey is
It-
like how a goat would be for the
yeah,
African setting. Like
it's better than
there's a
chicken though.
combination of, I mean, turkey is better than chicken, but not better than goat.
I mean, it's
So,
I'll the verdict will come out on that. But I think yeah, what I was just trying to say is that like the major difference between them and
yeah,
what we used to celebrate in Ghana was we were a bit more religious with it, like going to church
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, which is funny. And
Fasting,
we yes,
watching Jesus film
movies like
24/7.
you can't get your favorite cartoons because it's all filled with
Yeah,
like once
every
it's
TV
that
station,
week, every TV station, even the cartoons are like Jesus cartoons.
Jesus cartoons about his crucifixion and his resurrection.
Yeah, no, so it made it a tad religious, but then also we are a very outgoing culture, so they would rather have
Yeah,
more like go on trips with their
yeah,
family or like stay indoors with family and do things. We don't. We are trying to get away from family, so we'll do like
yeah,
conventions. We'll do
yeah.
Kwehu Easter. Like we'll all try to
Bro,
move to one place and go and gather at a place and have
yeah,
fun. And there'll be like
yeah,
music playing in the streets, and
yeah,
then they'll block the streets, and then they'll set up like stages. And maybe it's
yeah,
also where I grew up, right? I think some people's versions of Easter within these places will be more religious, but it's a thing for people to go to the beach, for us to organize events, even like this
yeah.
Easter
Even the
Monday
religious
events I was
ones
talking about.
are still similar. Like
Eventful.
Easter conventions are the thing. Like 3 day Easter conventions, travel.
Yes.
The
Yes.
entire church, if it has branches all over the nation, come
Yes.
to one place, come and meet. And every year they are rotating the location of Easter
Yes.
Easter
Yes.
convention. So it's like you using that as an opportunity to equally go on a trip. Just that now it's for a religious convention and it's for religious
Exactly.
purposes.
Exactly.
And
No.
then those who would go to Kwewu and go and do the paragliding experience. You know, I
Exactly.
lived in Kwewu when I was in junior high
Oh, you
school.
did?
So yeah, I did. I did like the last 2 years of junior high school in Kwewu, Abetifi, and it was crazy. It was crazy during the Easter period. When you go out and they send you to go buy something, you barely find your feet. The cars, the traffic, like the people around. And it's also a massive economic boom for a lot of these communities that are identified as Easter event locations.
Yeah.
Because even if you look at the church, these conventions that people attend, massive gathering, massive resource input in there. If you look
Mm.
at Kwewu, for instance, the hotels around, the
Yeah.
paragliding events. And in fact, a lot of these businesses are actually set up just to milk the
Cater
Easter
to, yeah, this
season.
stuff.
Yeah, milk the Easter season. Because prior to Easter, oh, these places are there calm. You may never see anybody
Yes.
there. Once there is Easter, even the houses we're renting, the landlord would come, his family would come. The number of people who would be
Yeah.
loaded in that house would clearly tell you that yo,
They're big
there's a
families.
new level in town.
No, I
Yeah,
like the Kohu Easter experience. Like the paragliding thing is a thing that I've been looking for
yeah.
to since I was a kid. Maybe it's much less impressive now with all the flying I've been
Yeah, yeah,
doing,
yeah,
but
yeah.
but
But
yeah,
it will
like
still be a very nice experience,
yeah,
actually.
yeah, I think so. I think one of the things I've actually bookmarked in terms of like coming to Ghana and spending holidays is just like doing uh Kwehu
Uh,
paragliding and just like the whole Kwehu experience. Like you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
For me, because I lived there, when people talk about it, it sounds like a little bit less impressive. But
Yeah.
of course, I lived there when I was young. I've not gone to celebrate
Yeah,
Easter.
and there are also good stories that come out of Kwehu, like
See, every year there's a story.
goings.
Every year there's a story.
They always said like when you can't find some of the elders in church, the rich people who
Yeah,
during
yeah.
Easter, you should go and check Kwehu.
Go and check Kwewu. Like the politicians, every big person
Yeah,
going to Kwewu. And I
go
mean,
and check
tour
Kwehu.
guides set up. Like leading up to this time, all adverts on TV, you'd start hearing Kwewu, Kwewu,
Yeah, yeah,
tour
yeah,
guides
different tour
set
guides.
up,
Now I'm sure that that should
show
have
people.
set up a lot in terms of like economy and like ever since we saw a
Yeah,
decline of events. I think it has maybe someone should treat this as a research topic maybe, but it has something to do with finding space. Like the cities
yeah,
got more populated and we started gathering less and less and less because there was
yeah,
no space. People were finding it difficult to make way into those places. I think some of the more traditional Ghanaian communities within like Tema, within Accra, like the Ghana
yeah,
areas, still have maintained like Teshinungwa still will do street jams
yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
put all
yeah.
the posters there. I think so many Pram Pram Dawenya.
Yeah.
One of my friends, Mr. Sparks is in Dawenya and he's always like organizing events and things
Ah,
like that. So yeah, I think they have retained more of that, but we are getting less and less eventy. Like everyone wants their child to stay
yeah,
inside and be a
yeah,
brilliant kid and things like
yeah.
that. Those days we
I
used to have
know,
like
right?
people just running amok.
Who? Like
Just like
actually, those who stayed inside used to look like the outliers. Like
yes,
I always got that criticism. Like anytime I went to school and it was Kwew, you're in Kwew. Like
you
boys
didn't
go
come
to
out
the
for
Easter.
the Easter.
Yeah, you didn't
Yeah,
go to the
and
Easter, and people are sharing stories, and you're like, "What are you guys talking about?" You're like, "You're not
exactly.
part. You're not part. Go and sit somewhere." Like you
Yeah,
didn't
we
go.
we there's a name for that. There's
Was
a name for
it?
that. You were being a nerd. So we just made a big discovery on the channel that both of us are nerds.
I
I,
don't know. I'm not admitting to being a nerd. I'm just
no,
admitting to
no.
being an indoor kid.
I
That's
think I
all.
think I think to a degree, like you said, like the realities of Ghanaians, and I think I'm beginning to discover that more when I move into other cultures. Like I tell
Yeah.
perspectives of Ghana, and you realize that people's perspectives are very different. Like I thought this
Very,
was the
very
Ghanaian
different.
childhood, but
Yeah, yeah,
people
yeah,
lived
yeah,
and they have radically different experiences, and they lived in the same country, and it's
yeah.
not very easy to detect that. Like you just now begin to think, oh, this was the rich kid who I used to go to school with,
Yeah, yeah.
and but people
Someone
have
said,
different.
someone said two kids can live under the same parenting, under the
Mm,
same roof, and they would both have completely different childhoods. And I
yes,
think that speaks a lot to the fact that individual experience would almost always be
yeah.
valued. Right.
You always feel like there's a I mean, this war doesn't become very apparent to you when you're a child, but you always feel like there's sort of like a war between you and your there's a point at which yeah you clash, you come to your meals and come and do your thing.
Yeah.
But in terms of doing because even with this Easter experience that I'm saying, I used to have like run-ins with my mom, like all the time. Like every Easter we fight, and it was
Yeah.
because like you had to go to church, so you had to dress up,
Yeah,
you have to
yeah,
get
yeah.
ready, and like you know how mothers are at her place. They are in
Yeah.
charge of everything, making sure everything is
Everything
good.
would
So
go.
so she's gonna put pressure on you. Like she's gonna wear your dress at 6 a.m. and come and meet me at this, come and
Yeah,
eat
yeah,
breakfast
yeah,
at this
yeah.
time. So and usually the
There's
time
a
gaps
very
are
strict
crazy.
timeline.
Yeah, so it's like get ready
Oh,
by 7. And said, but ma, it's 6:30. Said you can't use 30
yeah.
minutes to get ready. So you have to do all these things and then by the time I'll be late, I'll be late. So my mom was gonna get pissed, gonna leave me. Then I have to wait. Right. So always I had this drama, but my siblings seemed to enjoy doing it because they didn't
Yeah,
find any problem and they were going. So I always went to these events, sometimes having like a grumpy feeling, like
yeah,
interacting with everyone
yeah.
snobbishly. My mom is giving me eyes. So when I had a chance to not do it again, it was so quick. It was so
That's
quick.
all. That's you didn't need a decision, you just needed the
No.
chance.
Yes.
End of
Which
story.
which probably will bring us to what eventually our Easters became like in Ghana.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Before we get there, though, do you notice that every festive season, there's a major town that has a signature event. Like Easter is
Yes.
associated to Kwewu, and I
Yeah.
think Christmas is associated to Takra, the jam, the street jam that happens
Yes,
in
yes,
Takra,
yes, yes.
and that unique costume that they wear, like they flood the streets with live band like
Yeah.
music, and it's so nice. Like you listen to the
No.
recordings of these live bands and you feel chills. You're like, I want to be there. I want to
Yeah.
go there. And I
No,
think these
I saw
celebrations are really, really cool.
the last parade I saw in Liverpool was there were a bunch of people, mm, mostly
Yeah,
women, and then they were having a parade and they were dancing and like stamping their feet.
yeah.
But the whole place was quiet. I could just hear the stamping of feet. Turns out they had headphones. And I was like,
What?
not my country, Nyame my Ghana. I mean, yeah, it's a thing. Like you can't blast sound,
Yeah, they
like
can't
sound
be
over here.
noisy like that.
It can't be
Yeah.
noisy. Like noise is
So they
really,
had
really regulated
headsets
in the
and they were
Western
all
world.
listening to the same thing.
The same thing and
No,
just like
not in
marching.
Takra.
That's I think it's one of the key differences for me, right? Like over here, people take like even in your homes, like you really can't make
Yeah,
noise. Like I just remember that in Ghanaian homes, especially if you grew up in a more cosmopolitan environment,
yeah,
where you had to like share walls or share
yeah, yeah, yeah. You
compounds with
couldn't
other
actually.
people, you not that you couldn't, you realize there's someone who wakes up in the morning and he plays
And
the
start
music
singing.
singing. So usually the neighbors will ask, in the brass, I mean, I won't in the won't born you move my I say area
True,
higher quiet.
true. It's true. People actually call for it. We piano.
The
Is he gone
piano.
out or something? Like, why are
Yeah,
you not playing
so
the music for us?
yeah, either there's a shop, there's a cassette shop or something that plays the
Yeah,
music
yeah,
loudly.
yeah, yeah.
There's someone playing music loudly
It's like
everywhere.
a completely dead silent Ghanaian house or community. There's some abnormality about it. People
Yeah.
usually want
Oh,
to,
it's the
even if
rich communities.
yeah, even if it is for every average everyday like average Ghanaian community, even if it is not you who is playing, just having some sound on the background feels like
Yes.
yeah, there's a bubbly environment around, dead
Yeah.
silent. So if you notice in the afternoons when people go to work and nobody's at home
Yes.
and the place is
Oh
dead
God, the
silent.
creeps, the creeps. Now I'll tell. I think it's funny that you mentioned it because, like, like I write articles and like one of the articles I've
Yeah,
written, I've actually not put it out, but
yeah,
like when I started writing the Scott Freeman things, like musings,
yeah,
it's just sometimes some of these sober reflections. And one of the things I wrote about was silence and noise,
yeah,
the stark difference. Like silence used to get me so paranoid. I'm like, why is here
yeah,
so quiet? Um,
yeah,
and it gave me the creeps, and it's one of the things I struggled with over here. So one day I was writing about it, and I was like, why do we like so much noise? And I realized that sometimes the
yeah,
silence just gives you a certain
like a
level of
creepy
calmness.
feeling.
Yes,
Yeah,
like so we've not cultivated silence in our culture. Like even think about it. Most of the time when you have to study in school or
yeah,
like you find a quiet place and you're like, I'm learning.
yeah.
Your friend will come and say, hey, hey, hey,
You
hey, 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 what are you guys
study,
doing? Then come
bro.
and hit
Like,
you. Say, are you the only one who is smart? Are you the only one who wants to pass? Like we are so when you are
someone
silent,
come and sit there and play loud music, and when you complain, it's like, bro, it's a shared space. Learn and
yes,
play music.
yes, like there needs to be everything. Whether we are doing an award show, we are
Yeah,
serving.
music.
We want to just name our children. Bang, bang, bang,
Hey,
bang, bang, bang.
bang, 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 loud music,
Yeah.
very loud
So
music.
there's like noise everywhere. Everywhere is noisy and your ears are like piercing. It's the opposite in this place. Like you go to bars
Oh,
and you're having a pint and it's
yeah,
just sound of people talking. So you're talking and all of a sudden you're like, wait, why is it like everyone can hear me? Because
yeah,
like there's no music, and even if it's
yeah,
playing
yeah,
very very softly, you don't exceed
yeah,
certain decibels. So it makes you feel like you are not a part of the holidays, especially when you're here. You just feel even
yeah.
people are celebrating it, but you almost feel like nothing's
You
happening.
don't feel the celebration here because
Yeah,
of what you've
exactly.
been used to.
But people celebrate it
I mean,
differently.
For me, it's very normal for me because I don't like the noise anyway. I don't like
Yeah,
the loudness. I don't. And it was funny because when you mentioned the thing about studying, and I was about to say, even when I'm studying, I probably don't like dead silence when I'm studying, but I don't like noise. So maybe, sure, maybe someone 6 blocks away is playing music and I'm hearing it faintly on the background to know that, yeah, there's something happening somewhere. Sure, that's my ideal, like, learning environment. So usually when I'm learning, I either want to be playing a video on the side, like with a very low volume, so I can
yeah,
have something within the environment, but not loud noise and all that.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
think that was okay. Just one last point. I think that was
yeah,
one of the things I was trying to underscore, that people people like us can't do with silence. We can't do with total
mm,
silence. Yeah, we
yeah,
always need that small thing, that small
a
chaos,
little
small
of
noise
noise. Yeah,
there to just keep us optimized.
yeah.
And yeah,
And you
maybe
notice
it's a part of that.
yourself, you start humming, you start
Yeah,
hearing some sounds in your
yeah,
head,
yeah.
even
Because
if
yeah,
you're not
because
saying
if you
it
think
out
about
loud.
it, when our mothers were washing, like they were humming, they were
Humming all the
singing, like
time,
there was always
playing.
some
It became a habit where if I'm cleaning my room or washing, I have to be playing
music put
music
on. Yes,
or playing a video. It
yes.
can't happen with dead silence. There are two incompatible things in my life.
Yeah,
Right?
no, I think that's a very unique
It's
human
always weird.
experience. Maybe someone should look into it again. We're dropping research ideas in this episode. That's the title of the episode: research ideas, social research ideas. You should
Yeah,
take
yeah,
on.
yeah. But I mean, down to what our Easters became. Um, but when I came into debate in 2018, um, January, and then after my freshers competition, I was set to go and do the Ghana Easters Cup. Actually, my experience with that competition is a bit weird because that was the first time as a young person I now have to go and ask permission from parents to allow me, instead of go for 4 day Easter convention, to go to Accra in no man's land and go and do a debate competition, right? Like it's like you are used to this normal cycle. Everybody expects you. Yo, we've sewn a dress, we've bought a shoe. Come and pass. Let's go. Come along. Let's go. Let's go to Easter's convention. What do you mean you are going to debate in
you
exchange
know,
for Christ?
yeah, that's it's. I just wanted to underscore a point before you go on that.
Yeah.
With all these things that we're talking about, it doesn't matter if you're a child or adult. Once you're in the house,
Bro,
you do.
yeah, exactly. Like this has nothing to do with age. If you are an adult, your grandmother would be the one dealing with you. If like, because my auntie, for instance, I have a brother who is very very old, like currently around 30 years of age or so, or 30, 32 or 33. My uncles are very very old, and they would always get the complaint, what are you doing here on Easter Sunday? Aren't you going to church? Have you forsaken God? What is wrong with you? And even the build up, they'll start asking you, what outfit are you buying for Easter? What
Yeah.
shoes are you wearing? What are your plans? Bro,
And I mean, I think it
definitely
was
bro.
it was crazy. I just remember one thing, and uh, when people ask me how peaceful Ghana is, I'm like, very peaceful. They're like, oh, how about you guys? Don't you have like different religions, different? It's like, we do. But I remember my family, like
Yeah,
when it's time for Easter, we are all asking, why aren't you going? Where are you going? And this one is like, oh, my church is at 6. This one is like, because
yeah,
I swear, like different people were going to different churches. We
different
had like
churches.
three,
Yeah,
4 different churches which everyone
yeah,
is going to, and you had people who like were not believers. So everyone
yeah,
knows that's for him. He doesn't go,
yeah.
but
He doesn't
some
go to
one time,
church.
and for some reason all with we all lived in harmony with each other, even people
Yeah,
from different religions, like
yeah,
because we have like in most neighborhoods you have like
yeah.
Muslims living there.
Muslims
So
around. Yeah,
they, when it's time for Easter, some of them reach out, some of them
yeah,
wish you and they'll ask, oh, how was church, how. So
yeah.
the
Exactly.
reason I'm pointing this out is because, like, when you look at the history of a lot of other nations, especially even within Africa, you don't find a lot that people
This
from
harmony.
different groups like
Yeah,
live in
yeah.
harmony
Together like
without
that.
any sort of engineering. Like it's
Yeah,
crazy how.
And
our
even,
homes are.
actually, a lot of families take advantage of this. So, for instance, in my family, when it's Christmas, we go on the 31st night. There are
Mm,
some churches who close very early, some churches
yeah,
close very late. Churches who close very early go very early. So, the Orthodox churches like Roman Catholic, Presbyterian, they go very early and close very early.
yeah,
The charismatic churches go very late and close very late. And
yes,
because of security reasons, what we used to do is we used to schedule. So it's even good if there's somebody who attends Presby
yes.
or Anglican, they would go like 6, 7 and come home
Or
like
you
10.
forgot one last group of people. There's a group of people who go very early and still close very, very late.
That's why I said my family.
Those are the
Those group
super
of people,
charismatic.
even, bro, even on Sundays, they go to church at 8 and close at 5. So you can imagine, like, so we used to do this thing where we are portion, and then once this group leaves and come back, by the time they are back, the next group is getting ready to leave because our denomination starts a bit later. And then there's this swap that happens where now when you are leaving the home, you feel much more secured because there's someone back there and not everybody with an empty room. And it was like, even though there were different denominations, like you are saying, it was actually benefiting us, and we found a way to
Yeah.
maximize the benefits rather than
And it
fight
was
to
nice. It
get
was
stuff.
nice.
So
You had those
it was
random
always
Sundays
nice.
where my mom is like, we are late, so let's go to this
Yeah,
person's church.
yeah. Today, let's go to this person's church. Yeah,
So-
because sometimes my grandmother would be like, because she goes to Anglican, she's very, very late. She'll be like, you guys are still here. I'm late. Instead of not going, today let me go with you guys. And then
yes.
she'll just join us. Some days I wake up and I'm like, actually, today I want to go to Presby with my brother. So
Yeah.
let's let's go. Note that maybe that day I just want to go early and come and sleep. I don't
Yeah,
I don't want to
exactly.
go and close church 2 p.m.
But anyway, so I think it was a similar case for me when I had to now do debates, right? And I
Yeah,
think the when you think about my personal story around Easter's, and you think that
yeah,
all this would have been destroyed by maybe my mom's insistence that I come to a Christmas convention, not destroyed per se, but like all this might not have happened, like a different trajectory of
yeah,
history, then it becomes like a very, very important point for me. And I think in the whole, getting into debate was the natural path for me, because
yeah.
if you have to get away from something like church, it needed to be a strong
Come to debate.
justification. So
Yeah.
every other,
I have a similar story, right?
yeah, I presume you would, and I presume it's for a lot of people. Like the only way you get away with doing extracurricular anything is by showing that it adds an academic benefit. So, because
Yeah.
I got into baseball when I was in high school. I used to play football. They hated it, so I was like, baseball is bougie. They will love it. It's unique,
They still hated it
ladies
anyway.
and gentlemen. No, but anytime I'm like, there's a quiz I need to participate. They're, "Quick, why did you even come and tell us?
Go, go,
Go!"
go.
So, so, so it was always that thing. So when it was church, it was like, but oh, I'm going to debate and it's academic and we do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, he's doing some.
Yeah.
So they ask, where is Maul? He's like, he's doing something important. Yeah, he cannot join us today, but he's doing something important.
Because when I came to uni, I used to I was part of the church choir, so I used to sing. I was very, very
Mm.
deeply rooted in music
I
a
really
lot.
still
Like,
sing.
Charlie,
Minister One.
laissez faire, I beg. This minister here.
I heard you have an upcoming song with Akese Brimpon. He's been giving you shout outs on his Facebook page. Oh.
Hey,
So you expect a
please.
collaboration soon.
Akasi Brimpon, the day I went to Joy Prime, I met him there, and then we had a chat about how much I love his music and all that.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and I listen to his music a lot, almost every single day. Even today, I've listened to like 3 or 4 versions
Oh
of
wow.
his music.
He should keep you well. Yeah, it's number one fan.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I used to sing a lot, be part of the church choir. And when you're in school, the only time you get to do those things is actually when you're on holidays and you go home. So
Mm,
now having to be leaving for debate meant I was spending the time I had to be part of church choir and rehearsals and all that in debate circles. And even in school, it was a big choice for me because AGCM, I had to decide whether I was joining the AGCM choir or I was joining KDS. And
mm,
I can't have both commitments and be good at it. Like the time is is too stressful. And with the program I was reading, biological sciences, bro, the program itself is like a 10-year
Mm,
course crumbled into four. So I needed to pick something. And then for me, it was like I've gotten maybe a good experience with music. Debate
mm,
provides me something new. I need to try it. And then when I
mm.
try it and it's good, I can maximize the benefits from it. And later on, still return to music anyway. In
Yeah.
fact, what I did to rationalize that decision at the time was to say I'll do debate in school and do music at home. Little did I know, little did I know that
That is cool, cry you won't do. It's debate.
the debate is even coming to steal the school time and steal the home time as well. So there was no way out. I was like, oh my god. Eventually, when I got there, I was like, bro, now I have to be pleading to get time to go for debate events and all that. And Easters was the first external tournament I
Yeah.
attended, which
I
was
mean,
which was really,
not
really nice.
not to derail the discussion, but I think this might be very beneficial to a lot of people who are at these crossroads because it happens more than not. Like I say that,
Yeah,
and this is perhaps a controversial statement to say, that one of the biggest threats to uh like the debate society's growth or expansion or anything, one of it is religion, is church. Because if
yeah.
we look specifically within not biggest threats, but it's the biggest competitor,
And
if I would say.
limitations, yeah.
Yeah, because church is one of the entities that demand most of your time in terms of the music,
A
in terms of
lot of
everything
time.
on
Yeah,
campus. And debate also does same. Like a lot of
yeah,
other activities, sports also does same to a certain degree.
yeah,
So they do compete, but more often than not, people are a member of a church than they are of debate or anything. And I think I like what my people did for me. Most I when I had that confliction, I
yeah,
chose the music. Because I was like,
yeah,
yeah, I want to do music if I'm in a church. So I chose that and I went away. But when it came from time for me to do the debate, they respected that. They respected that actually. Like I
yeah,
because I had a mentor who Ewenam, who respected the fact that I did debate and I could argue. And I think I also almost had dreams that if I pursue debate enough, you'll be one who'll be what's it called, an apologist, where you can also even articulate. Because
yeah,
most of the preachers I
yeah,
used to listen to were like that. And so I think it's key for a lot of people who are picking up debate and are coming out. Because a lot of them ask me this question: "Oh, I'm in church. I read a difficult course and I want to do debate, and the
yeah.
time
How do I
would
manage
clash."
it?
Yeah, there's a way in which you balance and you manage it because I don't think any of us have lost. You still sing, you still
Yeah,
uh, have your values and your beliefs, but you're also a good debater, and this is what has given you the opportunity to even
yeah,
establish yourself, have a career, things like that. And imagine if you always give the individual the power to choose. You're always leaving them with the decision to choose, which means that they always lose one of the other. I think
yeah,
these groups need to work in harmony to ensure that the students who are passing through campus have much more of a
yeah,
holistic development rather than a
yeah.
skewed perception of what they
Version
think
of it.
development is. It's
You
not
need to
everyone
be
who is meant
absolutely
to
committed
become,
to this one.
yeah, it's not everyone who is meant to become an evangelist or like
Yeah,
some people need to have good lives, yeah,
yeah.
different lives, yeah,
I mean, generally, what it tends to sort of it casts a stereotype that if you choose other things, then you are sort of neglecting your religion, and
yeah.
it makes it
It
even
shouldn't have
far
to
more
be,
difficult. People who tend to choose now have to deal with those stereotypes instead of
yeah,
normalizing the fact that yeah, you can be within the church, and for instance, you don't have to come for every midweek service. You don't have to
yeah,
come for every Bible studies meeting.
yes,
You can come for Sunday service. You can prioritize your time and apportion them to fit the things that
the
you want to
different goals,
experience in church. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's a good point. Back to Ghana Easters Cup. Ghana Easters Cup is organized by Speech Forces, our very own um, Eric Grant, our very own debate legend and grandpa. Eric Eric will
yeah.
probably kill me when he hears me calling him
Yeah,
debate
Eric should
grandpa.
have been on. Eric should have been on this episode, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, we both have experienced Ghana Easters Cup. You were at the very first edition, right?
Yeah.
As part of the first competitions you did. So tell us what your experience was. As I never got to see you as a young debater, so tell me more.
There are videos of it, and I look much finer than now. So that leaves a
Hey,
lot to be said. No, but the story of I'll begin with the story of Ghana is this because it sort of like coincides with my story. It's really the genesis of my debate career because
yeah,
I think even though Speech Forces had always had Accra Open, which was like a tournament organized within the longer vacation, which saw
yeah,
teams come from Nigeria, Cameroon, South
yeah,
Africa into Ghana. I think what Eric was trying to do was organize a competition that didn't have a lot of logistical constraints because doing that kind of huge competition always meant that people needed to pay exorbitant prices in order for the competition itself to happen or to be managed. So
yeah.
Easters was like, yeah, a bunch of friends, it's holiday, let's all come together. Let's so they were on the page,
Debate.
like Conglo, just talking
Yeah.
and all of a sudden they planned the tournaments. They were like, yeah, this person can give a room to this person and this person can sleep here. So let's have the tournament. Then they said, okay,
Okay.
now what's the name we use? Then someone was like, yeah, Eric the lost son of Jesus, which
Ah,
yes, which was funny because like one Eric should probably not say this here, but Eric is also like a church boy, right? And
yeah.
now because he also grew up in the choir singing things like that, and now he's lost
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
then
Eric used to, because I've seen some pictures of Eric holding a microphone. Yo,
so that was
if
it.
I have
So
those pictures, that would be our thumbnail.
no, but like he had moved now, like he was back in Ghana and he has started
Yeah,
debating. So he was they were like, yeah, Easter instead of you to go to church now, you're going to do debates. Um, so that's how they named it. So when we went, I think the only way I got to know or go was that I'd come
yeah,
back into debates like that year in January, started going
yeah,
consistently to practice. So by March, April, I was doing quite well. I think yeah, I think I was doing quite well. I'm forgetting the
yeah.
timeline because I'm I miss as to if I did maybe nationals first or no, I think I did it first before nationals in Sunyani.
Nationals, yeah,
So I got texted by BNI because I'd been showing a lot of interest, consistently coming up to training, doing some of the
yeah,
tournaments, like internal tournaments in the beginning. And I was doing quite well. And in my mind, I had been training even throughout like the long vac into that year.
yeah,
So I think I was prepared. So BNI said, yeah, we need people to come and do this tournament, but we're not looking to invite everyone because we have limited space. So can you
yeah,
join us? Then they added me to a page. So I was supposed to go and speak with Kobe Esiama. But Kobe was also not sure because like it was Easter, like everyone goes home to go and do this. But I was so determined. I was just looking for the next opportunity to show myself because it's
yeah,
mostly been internal. So I was looking forward to AO even. So this was
yeah.
good for me.
Like
Eh,
a shock appearance.
Exactly. So it
Yeah,
worked that Kobe Esiama couldn't go. So when we
yeah,
went, there were about a couple enough to make like I think 2.5 rooms or something like that. So some of them had to drop out to judge, and we just had like 2 rooms. But
yeah,
obviously, with my partner not coming, um, I had no partner, so I was stuck. And they wanted, I'll tell you the truth over here. They wanted me to speak with Bafo. If you remember, Bafo was like young and he had just joined debates that year, part of us,
ah,
but he
yeah.
was promising. He
Ochibafo.
was Oche Bafo, but he was promising.
He's now lawyer Balfour, so
He's now
SOB.
lawyer Bafo, so respect, respect. But
Respect, respect, lawyer
he
Balfour.
was he was in first year, so I was like, mm, this is not what I'm looking for. Like at this point in my career, I
Yeah,
need people to. I was not in the mood. I was not in. They did not have the strength to go and. So for me, I was ready for the big hitters because like I'd been
yeah,
in debates before. So I was like, these are not my. I was there to compete with the BNIs, the Karims. No, no
Yeah.
disrespect, but I almost felt like I prepared myself to that level, so I didn't want to
Yeah.
speak at a novice. So it turns out Prince Asamoah came around and he was supposed to speak with Michael. So, oh, I had a conversation with Michael yesterday. Perhaps should have mentioned this to him. So, Michael, this is your piece.
Oh.
Because
Oh,
you did
okay.
not come, now Prince had no
Ah.
partner. So Prince was asked to speak with me, and
Yeah.
Prince was like, he doesn't know. He
Mm.
wants to judge. He's not even sure if he'll stay around for the tournament. And I was getting so disappointed, and like as he kept on shrugging it off, the
Yeah.
disappointment kept on growing. But I kept on believing, and in time, he had to register. I think B and I spoke to him, and he was like, you know what, let me just do it for
Yeah.
cruise, and he registered us. And long story short, we won the tournament. And I think over there everyone was sort of like impressed because it was my first tournament after coming back, and I
Yeah.
kept on telling everyone that I'm in for serious business. So
You're back.
winning your first trophy on your first tournament, it became a narrative that was sold. Everyone was like, this was his first ever tournament after
Yeah.
um the 24 after the training, or like his first year, something something. And he just came to win the first tournament he attended. So
Yeah.
that was when
Massive,
people began to
massive.
associate the tournament with me, and then started doing, oh, it's Erasmus, the lost son of Jesus. Because guess what, I
Yeah.
was also the guy who
Yeah.
was supposed to go to church,
True.
and then I stopped because I was a
True.
church boy, and then I
True.
stopped, and I now
True.
come to debate. And it
Yeah.
fit, it
Because
made sense. Yeah.
it fit the story. Because when I heard of ELSG, like there were so many versions of the names. Eric the lost son of Jesus, Erasmus the lost son of Jesus. Like which is which? What is the name? It's one tournament. I'm sure lots of people are still confused about what the actual name is,
Yes.
right? And so, I mean, Ghana it began your debate chapter. It also began mine as well. After freshers competition,
Oh, tell your
it was the
story.
first external. It was the first external I attended. And I mean, at that time, if you remember, I was planned to speak with Della at the competition, and I think a day before, you approached because we had been trained by you, and so I was supposed to speak with Della, and I think you speak with someone else or something like that, and then
No, I was
the day
not. I was going
before
to
you were
judge.
like, yeah, you were going to judge, and I think the day before someone else was going to judge, so it was like, oh, you want to speak with me, and then Della can speak with that person instead. I've really forgotten
Jennifer.
who it was. Jennifer, yes, Jennifer, and Della and Jennifer had spoken, right?
Yeah, they did well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was like Della was so pained at the time because when we finished freshers, we were like two very, very vibrant like members of
Yeah.
the Queen's Hall team that went to do freshers. And so everybody was looking forward to see that partnership to see what can you produce, what can you do. You know, we probably never got to partner in any competition since then.
That's so
We
sad.
never went on to partner. I mean, Della eventually dropped along the way, came back and all that. And so we partnered for that competition and was like, God, I've been drawn into battle of the top leagues when I wasn't entering the competition to compete with anyone. And of course, that year Easter's too, there was no novice breaks. So it was all either in or all out. And
Yeah, we
obviously,
didn't. We never had novice breaks to
yeah,
recently. There was nothing
there
like
was no novice breaks at
that. Your
Easter's.
break is at the
So
bottom of the tab.
your break down there, whether you are a novice or an open speaker. If you're a novice, is you go and see yourself 75th on the tab. Nobody. It's these days they have novice tab where even if you are 75th on the open tab, you can go and screenshot that you are third on the novice tab and go and
Yeah,
share. There was nothing like
I heard
that.
they want to start an ESL tab in Ghana.
What they should be careful. which which ESL? Then me,
Maybe,
I'll register as open and ESL. Who do all? It's
maybe
like
for Kenya.
it's like Tin. Tin registers as ESL and Open, wins all the best speaker awards in the post.
That guy is
Nobody can do
greedy. That guy is greedy.
bro.
You check, you're like, at least I was 27th on the open tab. At least I'll
See,
be top 10 in,
top
and you go and it's
8
all
of the top Open speakers are
they're all
all
ESL.
ESL. You cry. You think that there's some space for you. So they shouldn't try it because the tiers there, it won't change anything. All the people there are ESL speakers. So there's we are going to do about it? Just
Oh,
replicate the open tab. That's
by the way,
all.
this Accra Open, I think one of the things we are thinking of creating a legacy stream, and I was like, why are we creating a
Ah,
legacy stream? Let
everybody should compete.
rumble in the
Come and
jungle.
cry. Come and cry.
Take it and go
I
away
mean, some of
like
the legends
legacy
will come
stream.
and collect. Some of the young ones to also come
Oh,
and meet their
for me,
mates.
I've sent out my shot already. It's just such a shame. Like obviously, because but if Eric gives me the opportunity, I will drop and get into the ring. Because there are some people
For me,
that
I
I mean,
wanted
you
you in
need.
the ring though, because me, I just want to beat you. That's all.
Yes, for me, like that's the thing. I want to settle scores. Like I'm all for the competitiveness of the game.
But you
Because
cry. Like you don't
I,
have a
I
score to settle with me, but me, I have scores to settle with you.
but for
So
me, once that immediately generates a score, so it's an auto score. But the point I was trying to make is that for me, the legacy of who is the greatest has just been
yeah,
caught up in rhetoric, and it feels like
yeah,
there
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
bubbles.
yeah.
Like someone
People
said, "Oh,
argue
this one
from
is my
different
yeah,"
timelines,
and
yeah,
this one is my
different
goat, and
generations.
this one is my goat. For me, I think
Come and meet,
there's a way to
come and meet.
settle it. Let's settle it. Who was able to run this game the longest? Who was able to stay on top the longest?
But
So
who would
let's
you
just
like to
settle it.
partner in that legacy round? Who would you like to
If I partner you, it will be a cheat.
Why would it be a cheat? I just asked the question. Who would you like to partner? End of story.
Yeah,
Let's
it will
make
be
your
a
one
cheat because
legacy.
I know we'll focus on like the genesis of our partnership obviously was with this ELSJ. So I think
Yeah,
there'll be an episode where we just talk about our partnerships and how it's evolved. But
yeah,
I remember like Hogwarts and they released the list. I was the best speaker in the country, but I was behaving a bit like nonchalant and a bit melancholic after my defeat in GEDC. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to
yeah.
pick," and they all picked themselves. And I was like, "This, they are so
Ah,
shameless."
these people.
Like, yeah, because you guys are the biggest guys. Like, I just got my crown and rights, but you guys are the
Yeah.
biggest guys, and you've partnered yourselves. Shameless. I was like, bring Andrew Segbefia. I've done this with him before, and the funny thing was that you were number two in Ghana
Yeah, we're number
after
two
the
in Ghana
ranking.
that year.
But
Yeah.
people just thought, oh, it's
People
about
just ignored actually. It's about
yeah,
status. And I think
yeah,
that's how we forced our way into the big
the
conversations in
conversation.
Ghana. Because
Yeah,
when people picked each other and we said, no, they should clear off. We are top
yeah.
two, power pairing at the top. Go and ravage the tournament. And we made it to the final. And Hogwarts is
Yeah.
like that year's Hogwarts was hot. Like really, really hot.
Me, I'll be
So
very
for us to
honest.
make it in the final.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be very honest. There was a world where we broke higher than we were. Like we just also
Yeah.
had some. We also had to suffer from there because like people were putting us in a bracket of. I don't want to be arrogant, but
You are
they were
good.
putting us in
You are not good
yeah
enough.
grade B. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
so
yeah,
happy,
yeah, yeah.
and when I heard that narrative, at first when I picked you, it was a case of let's pick and then let's see. Cause
Yeah.
but when it became like serious, I was like, would we make
These
it?
guys are
Are we
disrespecting
ready?
me.
Yeah, then it became like two of you. Oh, you could have done so well because you were on the rise, but you went to go and pick Andrews. And I'll talk about
Yeah.
this thing. It ties into one of the stories I was going to share with you. But they were like people were like you were going to do well, but you went to go and pick Andrew. And I was like, what the
Yeah.
so you remember like there was a call out on the page. I called out
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Percy and then Isaac Dua caught straight bullets
Yeah.
because we had this band and I was like, why are they comparing me to Percy? Like
Yeah.
there's no way. Like there's no
That's
way. It
that's
makes
not
me
the
make
level
and
you're
I'm
on.
my blood even still boils at this. Like why are they comparing? Why do they anytime they want to compare me, they compare me to these guys, to these
Percy,
Hogwarts? Like
Mike.
oh
Yeah.
you blew up in their generation. I was like.
Yeah.
And that's why for me this accreditation is important because like people talk about when you came I was out you prepare use the months to prepare and let's jump into
Come
the
and
ring and
meet.
then yeah I like to be honest I've not been debating a while so like, I would even
Yeah,
just
yeah,
stop
yeah. The
training I want to
way
stop training then so that I can rust to your level I want all of us to be the same level of rust right then we do then we clash
ah,
because
I mean, people should these days be careful because, bro, like the
No,
levels
but
completely.
most I be it was either you or BNI because I think those have been my best partnerships. Plus, I
Uh,
not even about the performance. These are partnerships I enjoy.
Yeah,
These are
they work.
partnerships I
Yeah,
like the work I enjoy, like the discussion. It elevates your discussion,
yeah.
like you, BNI, faithfulness. Like you just
Yeah,
enjoy.
faithfulness is one person. His win percentage against me is like 4-3 or 3-3. The
Hey,
only
you boys
thing he
are
uses to
counting.
beat me, yeah, the only thing he uses to beat me is he won a final and I lost. That Josie to Accra final. That's one of the reasons why I have a score to settle with him. He won the Josie to Accra final that I lost, and
Do
I
you know
was
why I'm
like,
laughing?
why?
It
I was
was
like,
one of those tournaments,
okay,
like it just became so clear because I remember you were speaking with Ejime, you had chased this
yeah,
partnership for so long. And I was like,
uh,
I mean, I get it when people like yeah, like you admire other debates, but I was like you spoke with me, oh, I didn't see you this excited, Andrew. So I was a bit, I'll tell you, I was a bit emotional over there. He
to
wanted to
settle
say
a
you was
score, to
oh
just
the
beat
G-Day,
me.
you have to speak with engineer, you have to speak, and I was like, So I remember that tournament, like we luckily for me to faithfulness knew a gym,
Yeah,
like it was one of his nemesis. So I was like, made that person. I was like, let's go for it. It had a structural weakness in both of us being second speakers. I was like, I'll make it work. And then you remember there was a round where we were like, we'll give you guys fourth.
yeah,
And like you guys they're like, oh, we're bluffing, we were bluffing, and before you realize it came and you guys fought.
Charlie.
So when you
Well,
popped
I
up in the
mean,
final, I was like,
yeah, that tournament was like the rounds were very very hectic. But when after we broke, the out rounds were like, okay, now here we come, right? So we
yeah,
started picking up the steam in the out rounds. And I mean, for me, the reason why I really wanted to speak with a gym at the time was actually I just wanted to be a second speaker within that period. Right. Because when I was
yeah,
speaking with you, I was having to speak first. And I
yeah,
wanted to explore my second speeches. So if you would remember, I think in the semi-final, we met you guys in the semi-final, right? When you were
yeah,
CG and we were CO. In the semi-final, Prince went to write on the WhatsApp page. Was it Prince or Karim went to write on Wadek page after he heard my whip speech? That that was one of the best whip speeches he's heard,
yeah.
and
That
that
sounds like
it was
Prince.
fire. And for me, that was what I wanted to set out in that competition. That was
Mm,
my entire
mm,
goal, was to explore my second
yeah,
speaking and then do it with a first speaker that I could trust,
yeah,
right? Like you and I had a different partnership dynamics where I had to do the first speaking, you had to do the second speaking. And Bannerman also had a different partnership dynamic. We were just floating around. There was no consistency in who does first and who does second. So I was
mm,
simply looking for a speaker who is a traditional first speaker. And then I would just sit back, enjoy the first speeches, and do my thing in second speeches and explore it properly.
yeah.
And so when I got the opportunity to do that, I was like, okay,
Yeah,
this,
I completely understand you. I think I believe, and I've done this throughout my career that I can take short hits for the overall success of my career
yeah,
of the trajectory of
yeah, yeah,
whatever I'm
yeah, yeah,
doing.
yeah, exactly.
So there, like for example, you've won. We were just discussing before the call that you've won three ELSJs. I've won just two,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
but people will still would say, "Oh, Mr. ELSJ, like Erasmus is Mr.
yeah, yeah,
ELSJ,"
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
I remember that I could have had
Actually, if
three
I don't say, lots of people don't remember that I've won three
that you
Easters.
won a two Easters. So one, I remember one of the Easters we were talking about. I was supposed to speak with BNI. I think I was telling you,
Yeah,
and I we were going to speak, and then eventually I opted out. So B and I
yeah,
eventually spoke with Michael Ampere, and they won
yeah,
the trophy. I think
yeah.
it's one of Michael Ampere's
Many.
biggest wins, right? And and then so when he came back, he was like, "Oh yeah, I should have gone, else I would have got the trophy." But I think back to why I refused to go eventually, and I think that was the year I was going to do PAUDC for the second time, right?
Yeah,
And just like I was describing with the Hogwarts, there was constant narrative that yeah,
yeah. It's impossible to do
you can't
second back
to
to
do
back.
win it. Plus, it was underscored by the fact that BNI is whom they knew, so BNI was
You couldn't do
leading
it with him again. Yeah,
Yeah, so if I'm not doing it with him, there's no way I'm going to win. And I
yeah.
know
That
people
was
had
the
already
vibe.
started sending out shade within the community that yeah, I was carried, and it was crazy. So I didn't have to say anything because people who were at the tournament saw they were like, how can someone be first? I think someone puts on the page, how can someone be first best speaker, second best speaker, and you say he was carried? Like
It was
how?
carried. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And those days I also didn't know how to have those conversations. So it was getting to me a bit. I was like, I wasn't
Yeah,
carried. I needed to prove myself. So that first Genesis, I remember we went into around that first Genesis. Did I think I got into the final or semi final. So, but
yeah. It was in the
yeah, I got into the
final.
final. I got into the
I think you were
final
with
with
Telfa, right?
yes, and Tofa had not spoken in a very very long time.
A very long
So
time.
when did it still people didn't believe. So I just thought with ELSJ, if I go once again with BNI and we go and win,
Yeah,
I'll just be solidifying the narrative. And on top of that,
yeah,
people will still just see me as Mr. ELSJ because you've won 2 times. What does
yeah,
winning 3 give you? Because it
yeah,
doesn't add much, especially in that context. And it was one of the reasons I was like, okay, then look, I'll just come and judge or
yeah.
something of that sort. And it's a hit that I took. Like BNI was like, yeah, you will not get a lot of
Why?
opportunities to speak with me. And I'll die to speak with him. That at that point I needed to do that to put it at the fore of my career. I know later that year I spoke with him in the pre-pans, but
Yeah, yeah,
obviously
yeah,
by
yeah,
then I had solidified myself. I had earned the respect I
yeah,
needed to earn, and also I think it was good that I spoke with him because close to the tournament, I wasn't going to take any risk. If I don't
yeah, yeah,
break,
yeah,
go to the finals,
yeah.
and the
Yeah,
perception,
Wahala. Yeah,
no, I couldn't
yeah.
take any risk.
I
But yeah,
mean, for like I was saying, so that partnership was very very strategic. And I think after that, once I heard like those comments from Karim Prince, I was like, okay, now I know I can be very lethal as a second speaker as well. And those were very high like high intensity rounds. The semis was really really tough in closing. It was like to finish the whip speech and have those comments were really really nice. I mean, our first Easters eventually went through the rounds. I remember we nearly didn't break
yes,
because we had to we had to win the last round to break. I think we caught some fault somewhere, bro. The last round
bro,
we were like, if we don't win, we're not breaking.
bro. I'll not lie to you. Like I'll not lie to you. You know the number of times me and you have had to sit in rounds where we need to win.
We
I think
need
it's
to
just
win to
once.
break.
I think it's just once we've never won. Every time we need to
Yeah,
win to
yeah,
break,
every
we actually
single
win.
time it's like there's a
Every
beast
single
mode
time.
activation.
And
Yo, we are winning the round, even if it takes you sacrificing your career
see, I
for
didn't
the
even look at the
career.
tab. Like, I don't even look at who
No,
is there. But
okay.
when you just share the story, and I remember that, maybe that's the genesis of it. We've always had to do this thing.
We've always had those moments where it's like final round, we need to
Win, do
win
or
to
die.
enter. It's a
God.
do or die
Now,
affair.
you see, and these are some of the things which, like, we talk about in terms of debates giving you life skills. Because you don't think
Yeah.
about not giving up. How does it come
No.
in? Like, it's
Hey,
those moments, like the round is lost, and
yeah.
you
It's
coming in to
you
come and
need to
save the
salvage
round.
it.
Yeah,
You need
those
to
narratives,
salvage it.
those tropes, and you seeing yourself as the hero. There was
Yeah.
I remember the AO 2019 final, and
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we had
yeah, yeah,
we had the
yeah.
extension,
It
yeah,
wasn't
but it
really there.
didn't do. And like
Yeah.
now it was like, the debate is scattered. The good news was no one was sure where exactly it should go, and you feeling like I
Yeah.
need to go in there, whip the best whip speech out of my life, and then you doing it, and you actually winning, and then building these things is very powerful for the way it shapes
Yeah.
character,
Your character,
for the way,
yeah,
yeah.
development is really, really solid.
Oh
It's
no,
one of the things
that's a good
I
one.
said debate is very powerful at doing. It's giving you character traits that people struggle to learn in life, and you get to learn it over a short period because you experience these things over and over again to build resilience, strong mentality, fighting adversity, and all that. And yeah, we nearly didn't make the breaks. We made the semis, made it to the finals, and we're closing up. And that was the
Yes.
first time in the final with Karim as OG,
Oh my God,
as OO, and I think I've forgotten her name. There's
Jessica.
this girl, no, not Jessica. It's not Aurelia too. There's this girl from University of Ghana who was in CG, and together with Susie, I think they were in CG, and
Is
then
it
we were in
Lois?
CU. Lois, yes. Lois was in CG and then we were in CO. Bro,
Yeah, and it was Karim and Ziad. Ziad was like the hottest cake that
hot
year.
cake in town. And then I think it was Abu Rasta in Indukwe or something.
Yeah, Abu
You
Rasta
open
and
it up.
yeah,
No, Abu Rasta was with a girl. Or
yeah,
wasn't
Abu
it?
Rasta
With
was
Abu Rasta.
the Deborah,
Yeah,
Deborah
Deborah.
Fidelia,
Deborah.
Miss
Yeah, Deborah
what
Fidelia.
Ghana's most beautiful
Yes.
2023. Yeah,
So Abu Rasta was with Fidelia in opening
Nayeli,
up.
yeah, Nayeli, that's her name.
And I mean, Abu Rasta had won the previous edition with you, right? So
Yeah,
now it's like
and yeah, and
Battle of
everyone
the
said he
Champions.
carried me. Yeah,
Yeah, he
that's the
carried you.
thing.
So now it's like Battle of the Champions with the person who carried you in opening, you in closing. And worst of all, you carrying a newbie, which is like,
Yeah, and I
yo,
think like see, I I'll probably not say this again, but that's why I think a lot of people don't give us our flowers. And I know like there's a lot of allusion to it, but that thing we did over there, it was crazy. I mean,
yeah,
people. I remember months after, and I'm realizing this as I grew older because I used to take it
yeah,
personally. People denigrated the win. Like for me, I felt like I'd done the impossible, and people came. I was like, how many people went? Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
who
yeah,
did you
yeah.
even
Like
beat?
people found reasons.
Abu Rasta even partnered the newbie, and I was like, what the fuck? Andrews
Yeah,
had been
like
doing debates for how many months? 5 months,
it was 4 months.
4 months.
4 months, yeah.
You've been doing BP for 4 months, and this was me who joined debates just a year before. And I trained you and I brought you to the tournament, and we beat these guys and we won. For me, no one was going to sell anything else. So no one was going to
Bro,
sell
that
anything else.
speech
It
I
was
delivered, I'm not
crazy.
even sure I understand the speech I gave.
I said,
I
if he
was
asks,
like,
if you remember, I pointed the shit to you. I was like, if he is going to ask you this POY, tell him this. And then
answer
he
this.
didn't ask it. I was just bouncing. I said, go for me, go
Ah,
for me. No, it
this
was it
debate,
was crazy.
this that final was nice, and then winning it gave me some chips on my shoulder because now I showed up for AO, and then everybody was like, "Ah, yeah, let's
That
the
boy,
champion.
that boy.
Yeah,
And
let's
you
the
know what I like
champion."
about that win? You carried
Yeah,
yourself. Like you were
yeah, yeah,
unflustered. Like they were trying to confuse you things, and you carried yourself. And I was like, I've never seen the first year. I mean, you see, and it's why like when I still coach people, like I look out for those things rather than like a lot of
yeah,
the conventional ways. Because I was like, I had never seen a first year boy who carried himself as good as this guy. So when you were like, are you sure we should do the partnership? I was like, are you crazy? This is what I want. This is what I've been looking for. Like it wasn't even a question of, oh, I didn't have anyone to go with. You knew
yeah, yeah,
I
because you
planned to
didn't
go
have to
with you.
speak.
No,
Yeah, which one?
there's
Easters.
yeah, there's the one I went with you. Like I didn't
Yeah, yeah,
have to
yeah,
speak.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You didn't have to speak. So it was a very deliberate decision to come out and say, yo, I want to speak and I want to speak with you. It was
Yeah. For me,
nobody was
there was
forcing you to speak.
yeah, there was a good cover. Like, see, this is how the feeling was. It was like I'd gone to discover some secret weapon, but nobody knows it's a secret weapon. So the best advantage is to use it quickly. Because I was like,
Before.
yeah, because I was like, I needed something to be honest. Like I was at that point in my debate career where I needed something like off winning ELSJ with
Yeah,
Prince. It was the same narrative, and
yeah.
I'm doing well in tournaments,
Because
but it's
obviously
almost
winning with me, nobody will come and say I carried you.
so I was like, yeah, I was like, I can actually win with this, but and no one, and I know we struggled within the tournament because, yeah, it's
Yeah,
very hard to get people listening to you when
yeah,
you don't have the source, right? But I remember
yeah,
that last round, like we threw ourselves on the debates. Same thing, we were we threw ourselves on the debates, ran
yeah.
everything. I remember I was just like sweating afterwards. People were angry afterwards. Me, it was one of my darkest
Like
debates.
it's like one of those rounds. I think when I was upcoming, the thing I knew how to do was to reproduce what I was told. So it's like,
Yeah. With
tell me,
composure, some
this is
excellent composure. It's
this
like
is
I'm like talking fast in his ears. It's like He goes then he's like pep pep. And I was like, this is a cheat code. This is. I was like, I can clone myself into two and debate, and no one knows. This
you
is
know,
a
in
cheat
YouTube
code.
today, I do it right. Like sometimes we are in prep, we have a
Yeah,
case. I clearly don't understand the motion that way, and then you are like, look, I
Like,
understand the motion. Like, here is where you need to like,
it's like,
tell me, tell me
before
the
I realize, I'm
exact.
like, Andrews, did you get it? Then he's explaining it better than me. Then like, that is that is
Yeah,
exactly how you should say
that's
it. They're
usually
like,
the
oh
reaction.
yeah, I know. I was like,
That's usually the
mother,
reaction.
mother.
It's like, yes, exactly. That's what I mean. I'm like, okay, I
I'm
understand.
like, oh no,
Uh,
it felt like a cheat code. I was saying.
yeah, and I think that helped us a lot in that final. Because after I set up the case, like your whip speech was just destroying everybody. It's like,
Yeah,
ah,
which was very easy because as usual they were underestimating us when we were asking the POIs,
yeah,
they were
yeah.
dismissing, which is almost like a story of our careers. Like I
True.
mean, now it's changed to a degree. Plus now, like I think I thrived off that throw because you remember I was telling you about speaking with BNI at the pre-pants because
Yeah,
I just thought, look, there will be a lot of people over here. I need to place myself in people's minds as
yeah,
being perfect. Even if I lose, I need
yeah.
to lose in a nice way, in a
Very
storied way.
competitive
And I
way.
actually like that we lost because, and is this not like corny shit, but we lost to the CAs. So people were like, it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah,
CAs
yeah,
who it took the
yeah.
CAs to beat them.
Yeah,
And
to
that was the
stop them.
narrative. Yeah, that was the narrative I wanted to enter into within the tournament. Now I'm
Yeah,
speaking with Michael Lampa, but within the tournament, I think it was just quite clear that I was not going to be
yeah. The
the
underdog in the team.
no, no, we were not going to be the team that dominated because, like,
Yeah, yeah,
right
yeah,
from
yeah,
round
yeah,
three, we started losing, started dropping points. We were battling in
yeah,
between the top room. So, and it started taking a toll on me because I personally felt like you are not getting the respect that you deserve because you go in and say, you're like, PADC champion, and you just felt
yeah, yeah,
people's
yeah, 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 yeah,
prejudice.
yeah, yeah.
People told me personally that after you gave your speech,
I was
I thought,
disappointed.
yeah, they were disappointed. They thought they were going to. People had this expectation. They wanted to hear wild things, but I was still me, still with the same mistakes, flaws. But
Yeah.
obviously, I knew how to win. So I think it was now getting into that mindset that look, I win best as an underdog. That's what I know how to do. And of course, now the the battle became Sasue, you and Sasu, and now
Yeah,
faithfulness, now trading like you were the one now taking points off him, and people were jubilating within the whole building. So it was now accepting that, like just saying, okay, I'm the underdog. I don't care. Like,
yeah,
in fact, this
yeah,
is what I
yeah.
need, and
I actually think that helped you thrive in the out
a lot,
rounds.
a
You
lot,
pulled up
a lot.
because it's like and that's the thing. I wasn't prepped for that within that competition to pick that amount of attention, like
Mhm.
and that amount of like yeah expectation.
Mm.
I think I handled it well up until the final, and then like everything just went downhill. And it's like yeah, I didn't realize that a lot. Since then, I realized a lot of debate success is equally about composure as much as it is about like your skills and your knowledge. And
Mm.
I've always told people I train these days that in every out round where you know people have like their edges on high and they are unstable and they are scared, the
You win by
first
being calm.
pathway to winning is to be calm because then
Yeah.
you would ease and Easter's, this being Easter's conversation, that's actually how I won my last Easter's trophy. Where in
Mm.
closing up, there was a motion about cryogenics and whether or
Yeah.
not in times of pandemic, cryogenics should be legalized. Let me tell you what happened. Right in right in the motion, right when the CAs were releasing the motion, immediately they started the info slide and said cryogenics is, and I was partnering Elisha for that final. So that tournament, so we just turned around and looked at each other and said yes, and then we shake each
Crypto and
other.
genetics.
It said yes, and then we shake each other. And then everybody was standing around and was like, what's going on? Are these two okay? Like how we've just said the first word in the info slide, and you
Yes.
guys are jubilating and shaking each other. What's happening? And I was CA for the previous edition. So I said, oh, I mean, we had a similar motion set in the previous edition. So we are just reminiscing of how fun this motion could be. I mean, I said the motion, Elisha debated that previous edition. So we are both
Yeah.
familiar with it. They actually went to CAs to go and campaign that the motion should be changed. So CAs changed the motion. I think one CA changed the motion, and then the rest of the CAT came and said, when they changed the motion, we said we don't understand because whatever motion you bring, somebody has debated some part somewhere. So how do we then decide that we are going to
What
have
the
like
fuck?
change of motions? So CAs came together and then decided and said, like, you guys deal with it. We are going back to the original motion. Everybody should deal with it. We went back. Yes. Then we joined the floor. When we are
They had
done to
already been
everybody,
defeated.
exactly what we had done to everyone in that situation was to establish some form of superior knowledge within that
Yeah.
motion, even before we went into the debate. So Franco turned around and told me that his entire DLO speech is going to be about running me extensionless. So he's going to focus on me. I was like, good luck, like all the best. So when we went into prep, this let me be frank, this is how the prep went. Myself and Elisha, first 5 minutes of prep, yo, what are we arguing? We went to sit in somebody's office and then we're just having some random conversation about the teams and how we scared them out there. And then we're like, yo, so what are we arguing? Then I just said, we are just going to argue how, in times of pandemics, people need to be scared, right, in order to follow lockdown rules. And so when you offer them cryogenics and then it's very cheap and it's accessible and they are no more scared of death, they'll break a lot of rules, lockdown rules, and that would mess the whole thing up. Like, yeah. And then we said, but these guys are going to think we are going to run something crazy, right? They said, yeah, they know. Because usually throughout the prelims, that's what we had been doing. Our MO was
Yeah.
to run crazy cases. And of course, we're CU. And everybody thinks I'll come and shaft. So obviously,
Yeah.
the reputation that was preceding me in that final was already
It's
terrible.
not good.
And they have
Yeah.
seen what we did out there. So, like, I do something complex. The rest of the 10 minutes in prep, we spent it deciding stupid POIs to ask in the final. So we came up with what is the difference between clinical death and legal death. So no, clinical death and legal death and clinical death. So that's the two.
I'm sure I can hear Calvin arguing his.
Bro, so Kelvin, Opana them were OG, and then we asked PM, what's the difference between clinical death and legal death? PM ignored. And then DPM came, and because I wanted to create chaos in the round, I emphasized again. I'm asking you guys again so that you don't say I didn't give you the chance to engage. What is the difference between legal death and clinical death? DPM spent his last 2 minutes explaining the difference between legal death and clinical death. Myself and Elisha sat there, we laughed. What made it worse was that DLO, who was Franco, who had said he was spending his time coming to run me extensionless, obviously has had these POIs. And so he
So
now started
prep
running
the
crazy
case.
about what exactly is legal death and clinical death. And what case
I think
around
I
it.
heard an excerpt of that speech where he was doing some mathematics.
Calculations.
Einstein is like,
And they put
so
the
when the
NSM
power of
tool
two.
on it. It's like, hey, it was crazy. So what happened there? In his speech, he spent time explaining, and sometimes I go very, very practical. So
Yeah.
that's what he did. He went to spend time explaining very, very practically how these things are going to happen, how many people are going to die, how many people are going to be
It's like
spawned in the
it's
crayfish.
7 times 6,000.
And you know what happened? When he started doing the calculation, everybody was confused and people started laughing. And he kept on incessantly saying, relax,
Relax. Yeah.
relax.
I know what I'm saying. I'm coming. I'm coming there.
Calvin came in CG and came to explain why immortality was justified and why. So when Calvin was delivering his extension, I just asked him, do you think the fear of death will reduce on your side? And he said yes. I was like, great.
So he gave
Tell
a
me
2 minutes
why.
explanation.
Tell me why my extension was that who would legalize this is the state. I'm just going to prove why the state legalizing this is counterintuitive to the ability to control pandemics and end it swiftly. Super simple. when
Jesus
when
Christ.
when the judges went out in 3 minutes, they came back 7-0, 7-0. Like there was no debate about it. So I laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed till today. I have excerpts of those videos. I watch it and I'm like, what were these guys thinking?
Yeah,
And I
I
look at
saw
it
the
and I'm like,
meme. I was like, Jesus
eh.
Christ, like
And
Franco.
essentially, the strategy in that final was to make sure everybody was terrible. So we didn't have to do anything to win. We just had to be average.
See, it almost sounds Machiavellian, and when you say it, like, because I don't know, people might listen to this and think, oh, like, yeah, you're lying. Not that much thinking went. Because it's easy to say
yeah,
people were lucky. It's always easy to say
yeah,
people cheat.
yeah,
It's always easy to say, oh, yeah, you have more experience. But I think there's a level at which you get, especially like the level at which we go, and you still have these things going on, and it happens more in
yeah,
debates often than we
yeah,
think. Teams intimidating, or that you remember we
yeah,
used to have this problem where anytime we enter into rooms, people were like, oh, we didn't hear them, or we didn't understand them,
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
and it
yeah,
was
yeah,
working,
yeah, yeah,
and it
yeah.
was
Yeah.
working.
Like
So
I felt so
and
scared.
it's
Are we? How? What are we doing? What are we
what,
doing wrong?
because at a point they'll say, oh, this guy's crazy case, the big case, they won't prove their case, crazy case, and judges
You
can
remember at
come
some
and they're
point
like,
we had to start calling them out and say we are sick and tired of all these
yes.
nonsense. Like,
No, because
listen
it
to us
happens. And
again.
and for me, when people talk about the dark arts, these are the things I'm
That
talking
is the
about.
dark art.
It's
That is
not
the dark.
asking a
It's not
distracting
shafting
POI.
you.
Yeah, like these things happen more often than not. More often than not. Like
I tell
I
you,
think
from that prep room
that
to
was
the
a good
trophy
one.
was the most fun experience in the
And that's
final.
why we
Like
debate,
myself and
right?
the
That's
guys
why we debate.
laughed and laughed, and it's like we had predicted that they were going to struggle with the POI, and especially when I asked the first time and they brushed this off, and I came back and said, "See, don't say I didn't ask you. Don't say I didn't give you the chance to respond. What
I'm
is
sure that
legal
even
debt
threw
and
them off.
chemical debt? Ah, Christ!" And the
Uh,
winning case was so simple. I was like, "Oh God." The judges came back 7-0, unanimous. CEO win. It's like,
didn't even make it fair.
no, like, and it's like the same principle you are saying. In times where people have their emotions and tensions on high, you be
Yeah,
the calm person, create
yeah.
chaos for them, and exploit those situations,
Yeah,
and then lose.
I've always and for me that's I always like related back to, like I said, when I'm coaching kids, because like when we had to train some of these kids coming up,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's like making people understand that you you need to know your stuff,
yeah,
and that there are many ways we won't know. I don't think I'll be the best debater in the world by any
yeah,
stretch of my imagination, by the life I live, you can almost know. Like there are some people who are just knowledgeable. I'm not going to have the best of
yeah,
knowledge over everyone. But I
yeah,
always say that when you put me in the room as part of the four teams in any debate, I would fancy myself.
yeah.
I would fancy myself to find a way out of there. And that's the mentality that when I'm training people, I try to get them in. It's not about whether you know this or know that. Like the debate is a game,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
broad
yeah,
game, it's a strategy. People win with different things. It's not just arguments. You can win.
yeah,
Anything is a weapon if you think about it.
yeah,
Anything is a weapon. There are
yeah.
some teams when they enter into the room and they see you, they are gone.
They
Like
are
they are
scared.
gone.
They are
So
done. Yeah,
yeah, there are some teams that, like, I remember at the time I started asking that people stop doing this. Someone pouts when they're about to take the stage. Someone's mind is gone after you
yeah,
pout.
yeah,
WDC, one of the things I realized was the length of time and the stress. So managing stress can create competitive
yeah,
advantage.
yeah,
And if you want to be the best of the best, you manage these small conditions and you use them to
yeah,
your advantage. You use the playing field to your
yeah.
advantage. So these are not just stories. These are things which happen,
Like
and you
key
definitely have the power to do
strategies.
them. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know people
yeah,
mention PAUDC. I came to the Akofina final. No,
yeah,
that one of the reasons I won was because I came to share an emotional story.
yeah. He told a story, but it was part of the process. Like everybody had the opportunity to tell a story. Why didn't
But
they tell it?
yeah, no, when I wrote that story before the tournament,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd written it before. I'm not saying I instrumentalized
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
did. I did instrumentalize an emotional moment,
yeah.
but it was my
But
choice
what's
whether
your
I wanted to
problem?
show.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
exactly.
me, it also meant something, and it could also help me douse
The
the hearts of the
semi-final.
people.
I think I had my best debate in that Kofina semi-final, and it was not by being brilliant or you remember the motion about power sharing agreements.
Yeah.
My entire speech was that look, I agree with everything you said about how terrible general power sharing agreements are. Unfortunately, that's about a specific power sharing agreement. So if you don't know the details, don't come to the table of discussion. Okay. So I just pick the details one, 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 then analyze why for this specific power sharing agreement
Mm.
it escapes every single flaw they've addressed. That was the entire strategy. So opening up felt like our case was similar to them because they did the blanket defense of power sharing agreement.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, yeah, of course I'll sound similar to you because you didn't know the thing and you just went to share general stuff. I'm, I'm the one debating the thing. So my entire opening line in that speech was, look, I know you find it difficult to judge, but the debate is simply about judging debaters who know about the issue versus lazy debaters who always resort to general knowledge. So let's have that conversation. And that was it. And it was like one of the nicest debates I've had because the margins were so close, but then the
Yeah.
gap I created was so wide by just exploring the fact that we
Yes.
knew it, they didn't. Right.
No, yeah, I think it was brilliant. And for me, like the when I think about ELSJ, like I always say, think of it as my tournament, like the tournament
Yeah,
that almost made me. And to
yeah,
be honest, anytime it's Easter, I have time off work. I ask for the tab and I look through and I see what people are doing, how
yeah,
they're arguing, if they
yeah.
are streaming rounds. I still love to listen to these people
Yeah, I think
debate because
the when I was doing the last Easter's, you messaged
yeah,
me and asked me what was happening. Like they were
yeah,
lashing me left, right, center. I was losing some rounds, and you were asking me what was
yeah.
happening.
Because I was
Those rounds,
watching.
Calvin and Bannerman were being demons. They won't be closing in the mafia mood. And I
Yeah.
told them, see, I went out and promised them that if I catch them in any round and I'm closing them, or at least I'm speaking after them, I'll enact a revenge. And
Yeah, and it
unfortunately
came
for
to
them,
pass.
it was the final. So
No, it's a reminiscence of Calvin and Bannerman team. We need to see you guys for Accra Open. Uh, Calvin and Bannerman. We need to see you for Accra
yeah,
Open,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
10th anniversary. Like I said,
And
my
I'm
hands are
finding a
tied.
way to try and come
That's
and speak with Fatal again because last year we had a fantastic run. Like
okay.
almost both perfect.
You are
And
doing it on the basis that I'm not speaking right.
I don't, I mean, why are you trying to put me in the corner?
Oh,
When you
just
decide to speak, we'll have a conversation. Currently, I see you on the CA flyer. Currently, I see you on the CA flyer.
no,
So
because
there's
because
nothing I can do
because
about it.
Michael Owusu, Frimpong, and Derek they are coming. I think BNI Karim.
Yeah, they
Um,
should. They should. I mean, because
I
that's
say you
also
give
one
it
of
to
the
them
reasons why.
too.
Oh yeah, they should come. Like they should come.
Whoa! We need to cut edit
Like
this part out.
it's
So you are
it's
sending
like
shots out to BNI Karim
oh, shots to
Prince.
everybody. Like see, shots to
Wow,
the tab,
faithfulness is coming.
shots to the tab. I'm not
Faithfulness is
eliminating
coming.
anyone, especially faithfulness. I'm not eliminating any person on the tab. Shots
I
to
like the
from head to
arrogance.
toe. I don't right
For me, I'm
at
a
this point in
facilitator.
my
I'll
life.
set it up for you guys.
Oh, set it up. Like the world's finalists, the world's public speaking champ, they should all come and line up and
Go
take
for
their
me.
share and go back. Like
Go for me.
like I mean, but it's been really really good. I just want to point out before we end this episode that the second Easter's trophy I won, it was a law motion in the final. We had two lawyers in opening government,
let
Calvin
let
and
me guess.
Banks.
Calvin was there, definitely there.
Calvin was there.
Calvin
Banks
seems
was
to have
there.
suffered in your hands a lot.
Oh, Calvin, they has
You need to
suffered in
take
my
this
hands in
personal.
finals. He took another one at Genesis,
Yeah,
Genesis
was it
2020.
was it the one you carried Tesco?
No, no, no. Oh, the one I carried Tesco, they took an L in the round we met because they went to threaten Tesco, and Tesco came to tell me. And then that round we won and they were fourth. And it was, I've not forgiven him. I always tease him with that round because I'm like, See, the round I was carrying somebody who hadn't debated for ages. And you went to threaten him. And I was lying there, I was sitting in my room, and Tesco came with fear that Calvin said they would beat us, they would massacre
Imagine
us.
that. Imagine
The round they
Tesco is
were
already
going.
heavy. Then imagine a scared Tesco.
And scared Tesco, yeah. Throughout the prep for that round, are you sure Calvin Dems will repart this? Are you sure Calvin Dems? But I mean, they were, they were fourth. And then Genesis final as well. I was with Dovlo, and Calvin was with, who was Calvin with? I forgot him. Calvin was
Is
with
it Bannerman or Duke? Yeah, he was with
Calvin,
Duke.
Calvin was with Duke.
Duke Sasu, the
Yes.
Almighty Sasu
Calvin,
Sasu
the almighty Duke Sasu.
Sasu.
Calvin was with Duke Sasu.
You
And they
don't
were
respect
closing me. We
and you
were
don't
OG
respect.
and they were CG.
Don't
And I
respect
did
your
it to them.
ancestors.
You know, you know that fine now. The nicer part is I picked conversations we had had. I had had with both of them. Conversations with Calvin, I opened the speech with it. Conversations with Duke about a book we've read that analyzes an argument. I just picked it and used it so in the speech. I just picked the two people in my closing and I prepped extensions, one argument for Calvin, one argument for Duke, put it together and used it in the DPM speech. It's like it was fun. Well, Calvin there for ELS did the two finals and then the Genesis final. He
You
got his
remember
trophy stolen away. You remember me? Like I was saying, that final had Calvin and Banks who were lawyers. They had in closing government we had Abna and Prosper. Abna was a law student and Prosper was a sociology student. And then in closing opposition, who were closing us, we had Ziad, who was also a law student with Frank Bannerman. And the only team without a law student won that final. It was a
which is
legal nation.
typical. Which
I
is
just want to
typical.
point it out. Very
But there were
typical.
even two lawyers in the
Two
room.
lawyers, two
Like
lawyers
it's
were
not
the
like
people
they're
who
in
set the
Makola,
debate
they've
order.
graduated.
No, they graduated, they go to court, they argue, they win cases, and they lost the final. Right. So it was a really, really nice experience. And it just made me realize that for the two Easters that I've won, Calvin have been casualties in the last two Easters.
Calvin and
He's been
Panama,
a casualty.
sorry,
Yeah,
Calvin,
Calvin and
Panama,
Panama.
and Bang. You need to respond to this. Come up with something.
But yeah, actually, personally, up until I won the third Easters, I'd never valued I'd never seen myself to be able to boldly brag with Easters because it felt like
Mhm.
people kept on saying that it's Easters, it's not that huge. But currently, it's a very, very competitive competition, and
It
it has
is.
huge status in Ghana and Africa as
Yeah,
well.
it is. Like I think the tournament itself has grown. Like it's grown now.
Really,
People
like
began
that's
to
a
see like, oh, this is the place I can go. It's the place I can go and start my career.
like it
So
has a
people,
novice section in
yeah,
now,
now
so
it has
you
a
can
novice section, but now the more competitive guys came in because it was free and it was in East
yeah,
during Easter. People could come from home in
yeah,
Accra, like some of those who had graduated come from home in Accra,
yeah,
just come and debate. So it became even way more competitive. So
yeah.
I agree with you on that score.
I think there's a point where I'd like to say like a big thank you to Speech Forces, to Eric, Konglo, all the people who came together to start Easters, and for Speech Forces who have sustained it and going to it every year, knowing that it's pure cost, zero balancing out
Yeah.
of expenditures. They buy trophies, they secure venues, they buy medals, they run the tab, they pay people for images and photography. And it's like massive investment into debate every single year. But that's like the period where they make debates so accessible. Like we say, it's online debate, free competition. It's much easier to do it online, but to do it in person, like it's really, really huge. And to run it free for what, 4, 5, 6 years running, it's like massive. And so big ups to Eric. And he's been doing this for debate like for a very, very long time in West Africa and Ghana as well. So like massive appreciations to them.
Big ups,
Now
Eric.
I'm a three-time Easters champion. The only
Yeah.
person who can compete with me for the trophy now for the all-time Easters count is Elisha. I'm not sure
Yeah.
whether he's
I think he
speaking
also
this
has
round.
three,
No, he
right?
has two actually.
He has two. Oh,
He
then
has
I
two.
think you hold the record.
Yeah, I
More
hold it.
flowers, more
The
flowers.
year, the year, the year before last year, which was 2022, when I see it, he lost the final.
No
So
agenda.
yeah, and when we came to partner, I told him that I'm the reason why he won, and he said I'm the reason why he lost the other one too because I was judging that final. so so
Nah,
yeah,
no,
I mean
but I should see some of these things broken soon. Like with the
yeah.
stretch of
Oh, that's
debaters
the
that
thing.
we're getting.
I would always go back to go and extend it. So maybe this year not, but next year definitely. I
Yeah,
would go back to go and extend my Easter's trophy count, and then we put it to bed there.
we'll
Like
look
I
forward
extend it
to
to like five.
it.
Extend it to five, then I'll leave it for people. But yeah, it's a really amazing competition. I think now that characterizes a lot of debaters, their ability to spend Easter's with a sport that they love and not be tied into. It's like we've created a bubble outside of the Ghanaian Easter's
Yes,
culture, and then
yes.
debaters exist within that bubble where we now all have our expectations of our trips to the University of Ghana to always do the Ghana Easter's Cup. And so this actually is an episode to explore the Ghana Easter's Cup, put it out there. It's upcoming this weekend, this coming weekend, the Easter Friday, Saturday, and then the Easter. It ends on a Saturday, right? I think. And then the Easter
Mm.
Sunday is for people to go and go back to their families, experience the holidays for the Sunday and the Monday. So, like all the best to everyone who has signed up for the Ghana Easter's Cup. Like, uh, try to break the record. Probably would be your first step towards it. Actually, extend it anyway. But it's like an amazing competition. It's an amazing competition. Yeah. This has been a really nice episode. Any final comments from your end, Erasmus?
No, no, I can see telecell on there. It said someone was sharing me that. Said so telecell mobile money. How would they call it? Someone said telemo. No, but I actually, I think, like I said at the start of the episode, I actually
yeah,
enjoy our ramblings because, and that's the
yeah.
funny thing. Like, it almost feels like
A
I'm not
casual
doing this in front of a
conversation.
camera because
Yeah,
this
yeah,
these are
yeah,
the kind of
yeah,
conversations we have all the time, and not
yeah,
just as like debaters where we come from.
yeah,
These are the things which is where these are the spaces where debate is growing, and the
yeah,
influences are showing where people are a bit relaxed, talk about some of not the formal things because some of these questions, if you ask me outside of these discussions, I almost give you a formal answer without thinking
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's when these things we this is this kind of conversations, and I think these are the
Yeah.
places debate grows. So we just want to show it to people. I hope no one gets offended with the name dropping and things like that. But yeah, as debaters,
I mean,
we
it's
say these
fine. It's
things
fine.
anyway. So take it like we are
Yeah,
not stabbing you behind your back; we are stabbing in front.
yeah.
So
And I mean, these like recordings also give me an opportunity to relive the Andy and Erasmus identity more
yeah,
times than I normally get the chance to relive it because usually we only get to carry that tag in competitions. It's like every
yeah,
single time it's like this huge competitive thing, but on these episodes we just get to be like every day Andy and Erasmus. These conversations we have them all the time, so
yeah,
it's like yeah, this recording them actually helps share the experience as well. So thanks everyone. Go for Ghana Easters. Try to break the records, win the trophy, show us your medals. Comment under this episode to let us know your experience with Ghana Easters as well. And definitely all the best to everyone. Thanks Speech Forces and thanks Erasmus for this one.